survival, crafting, colony and worker management, Vikings, and combat? Oh my, Aska has all of these things and more. Does it all come together? Watch on and find out.
My name is Thoraxe, and this is Strategy for Busy People. If you've got a few minutes, I'll tell you what to play.
Note, I played this game back in March of 2025, and there have been several updates since then. Some things I took issue with may have been fixed. This is definitely not the first survival crafting title I've reviewed on Strategy for Busy People, and it won't be the last. I put 25 hours into Aska by Sand Sailor Studio, mostly because I think Vikings are cool. I guess the game had some merits too? Look, you know how the survival crafting thing starts out. With nothing. And that's the point. You are supposed to figure out how to survive. Some scary monsters from Viking lore smashed your ship, and you're the only one left, stranded on this big island, with some flimsy pants and no shirt, and just your 2 hands to try and make it. So, can you make it? I must warn you that this game is in early access and is changing a lot. In fact, about 10 or so hours into my playthrough, the developer released a massive update that introduced lakes to the game. Getting a lake in your game required a restart of the game, because the maps are all procedurally generated based on seeds. Well, a key resource in the game is thatch, which grows in specific areas near water. Being able to have a lake near your settlement for both fishing and thatch seemed clutch, so I restarted, probably for the 3rd time, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Also, for what it's worth, the game does allow up to 4 players to cooperate in the management of the settlement. But you know I have no friends, so I definitely was playing this one solo. Whether it would be less grindy or not as a team, I'm not sure, but it wasn't that particularly grindy by myself. I digress. Aska has a lot of the things you have come to expect from a survival crafting game. You gather some miscellaneous tidbits to make some crappy stone tools, and then start chopping down trees and gathering more tidbits to start building structures. After you get some basic fire and shelter together, you can really get things going. One of the interesting differences in Aska compared to many survival crafting titles is that there is an entire system of colony and worker management behind it. As you run around the island, you find these rocks full of Jotun blood. You harvest the blood and put it in this giant wooden eyeball thing, and presto, a few minutes later a new villager appears. Now, yes, that new villager is yet another hungry mouth to feed, but the thing about Aska is that you really do need people to do all the jobs of a settlement if you're going to make it. I think the goal is to kill via combat some really big bad monster at the end, but I never really got that far. But honestly, that's okay. Anyway, as you start gathering villagers and building housing for them, you need to give them something to do. The wood, stone, and gathering huts are pretty self-explanatory, but better tools make for better work. A workshop building quickly comes into the picture that enables you to build better tools, which allow you to chop bigger trees, smash bigger rocks, and, eventually, mine for iron. You'll need to build a hunter's hut to send them off to chase animals, but just trying to cook things on the campfire isn't particularly satiating, so a cooking hut is in order. But real meals require both meat and vegetables, and gathering isn't particularly fast, so a farm is in order too. But clothes and buildings require lots of rope, which you can make from fibers, which come from flax, and wouldn't you know, that makes sense to farm as well. So now you can see that there is an awful lot going on, and you have all these villagers running around, so it would probably be good to protect them. Well, you can build a barracks, make weapons, and send your warriors around on patrols to help everyone feel safe. And they'll be safe, too, for the most part. Every once in a while, you get a blood moon and a raid on your base by some scary enemies, and, for the most part, you can dispatch them. Supposedly there is this really nasty bear attack that happens on day 17, but I had turned down some of the difficulty settings on the game because, frankly, I was really concerned about everyone getting killed and all my buildings smashed. But I guess villagers dying is just a part of the game, whether it's from starvation or enemy encounters. Now, as things get more and more complex, moving goods around your settlement starts to become a problem. You don't want the workshop worker to run halfway across the map just to grab some rocks to make stone blades. Fortunately, the warehouse comes into the picture, and suddenly a whole system of having to control which workers have access to which buildings to manage the flow of goods becomes an important thing to do. Everyone is starving? Wait, why doesn't the cooking hut have any vegetables? Oh, because I let the warehouse grab supplies from the gathering hut and the farm, but didn't let the cooking hut gather anything from the farm, and the warehouse worker had grabbed everything before the cookhouse worker could get to it, and, well, things broke down. Once you move along far enough, you can build the mine and the charcoal hut and the forge, and you can start making metal tools. Apparently, you even have to deal with metal tools breaking and then taking metal scrap parts and reforging them. But this is where things started to break down for me. It became a game of micromanagement. There was another major update that recently came out that allowed the woodcutters to chop up tree stumps to get firewood. This is a really big deal because the charcoal hut needs an absolute boatload of wood to make charcoal to feed the forge. So I had hit this annoying place of me having to grind around, both digging up blood rocks for the eyeball, but also traipsing around to grab firewood to feed the charcoal hut. But then I was also busy trying to micromanage all my warehouse supplies to prevent too many things from filling up the various warehouse storage containers, but also, well, just lots of things. It got to be a little much.
Before I give my final verdict, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to share it with your friends. Agree with me, disagree with me, or want to see other content? Let me know in the comments below. Want to try this game yourself? Check out my humble affiliate link below. And if you want to support me in making more of these videos, become a patron on Patreon. Your support really makes a difference. The final verdict.
This game is still under active development, but it is really, truly solid. Sure, there are some random bugs here and there, but the updates are coming consistently, and the dev team is really responding to player feedback. Case in point, the addition of reeds, which make thatch as a farmable resource in the most recent update, along with the aforementioned firewood. On my trademark 3-point score scale of avoid, meh, and I forgot to eat. I haven't put this many hours into a game in a while, and I definitely almost forgot to eat. In fact, I never slept. In the game, that is, because, well, sleeping is available to you, but isn't all that important. In the end, a nice pecan-crusted salmon was calling my name, so I left my little island to hang out with my real workers. No, that isn't a thinly veiled joke about child labor, I don't think.